is up, everybody? So, Sweetie Jason here. I'm back once again. Didn't think I would be in this location, but I'll make it work. All right. I'm here to talk about none other than Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, released in 1995 and directed by Daniel Farrens. Yes, it's finally time to talk about Halloween 6. I've been promising this shit for a while, so let's fucking do it and try to do it justice. Cause I've been trying to record this shit for the last 2 fucking hours, and I've fucked up every damn take. So forgive me if I screw up a couple times during this. But I wrote down like 5 things that I want to talk about during this review, and the 5 main topics that are brought up whenever this movie is brought up. One, I want to get out of the way right away, and that is the fact that George P. Wilbur's take on Myers in this is badass. It simply is. It's fucking awesome. It's phenomenal because he gives us the most brutal and aggressive Myers that we had up till that point. You know, up till then, the most brutal Myers we've seen was Don Shanks on Halloween 5, and he did a damn good version of Michael, despite what anybody says. But George P. Wilbur, he also played Myers at Halloween 4. But in Halloween 4, he had to have a hockey guard underneath his jumpsuit to make him appear more big and more imposing, more dangerous and shit. More intimidating looking, I guess you could say. But in Halloween 6, I guess he beefed up. And he fucking ate his spinach and shit over the years. Like the motherfucker been hitting the gym, you know, because he was a big son of a bitch. And he had that bad motherfucker Stone Cold Steve Austin walk when he's crossing the street from the Myers house to the Doyle house, the Blankenship boarding house. And that's another thing I want to talk about later is Mrs. Blankenship. But first I want to talk about the plot, if there is one, for Halloween 6. And basically the Cult of Thorn, who the seeds were planted in 4 and 5, the Thorn trilogy. This conclusions of the Thorn trilogy. They've been controlling Michael ever since Halloween 4, and they've been looking over him and taking care of him and making sure nobody kills him and shit. But let me tell you, nobody can control Michael Myers. You know, not anybody. The fucking CIA had Myers at one point. He took out 8 agents while they had him at Langley, so they shipped them off into a fucking space, and there you go. You got Myers in space. Actually, can you believe it or not, that was going to be an alternate script for Halloween 6 when they were trying to come up with a plot and a screenplay for this shit back in the 90s before the movie was officially made. Myers in space was an idea that was being thrown around. Quentin Tarantino was, I think he even threw a script out for this, but the space one, Jamie Lee Curtis was supposed to come back for this, and John Carpenter was either going to direct it or write it. I don't remember which, but he was attached to the project at one point. So this movie went through a lot of fucking development hell before they actually came up with a good screenplay for it. And then it was divided into 2 things, because you got the producer's cut and you got the theatrical cut. Me, myself, I prefer the theatrical because the third act in the theatrical is way better. You know, seeing Tommy Doyle beat the living fuck out of Michael Myers with that lead pipe in the Smiths Grove Asylum. Awesome fucking shit. I really enjoyed that. I really thought Tommy Doyle beat the living shit out of him. And it was weird seeing his head fucking gush out this green shit that they injected him with, these fucking needles and shit. That was kind of weird, but the third act in the first movie, the theatrical version, is way better than the producer's cut, if you ask me. But I'll get to that at the end of this video. But first I want to talk about the replacement of Daniel Harris. You know, there's no knocks to J.C. Brandy, who played Jamie in this. She did all right. She did a pretty decent job. But you can't get any better than Danielle fucking Harris, because she was a beloved actress of the franchise in 4 and 5 playing Jamie Lloyd. And it would have been awesome to see her come back for this. But the producers at Miramax was like, nah, you know what? Since you get killed off in the first act, we're just going to offer you the same amount of money you were getting paid in 4 and 5. And she's like, hell no, fuck that. You know, I'm worth more than that by this point. She had already garnered a lot of traction in Hollywood, and her career was growing and blossoming into something beautiful, just like she did. And so, yeah, she thought she was worth way more than they were offering, and I can't blame her. I would have asked for more, too, but they were only going to pay her as much as she was making back in 88 and 89, and she's like, no, fuck that. And she walked, and they replaced her with someone else. An actress that was in her 20s, supposed to be playing a 14 or 15-year-old giving birth. So at the beginning of this, we see Jamie has been abducted from the Haddonfield PD precinct, you know, with Myers, and she's gave birth to some baby, and we don't know who the fuck she could have hooked up with in that Thorn Asylum, but in the producer's cut, they led us to believe that Myers raped her. You and that's Michael Myers' baby she's carrying, who is better known as Steven later on in the movie. But if you ask me, I don't believe Myers raped her. I just can't buy that. Because Myers is a voyeur. He's a pervert, yes. He stares at people while they have sex and then goes and kills them. He probably gets off on it, but I don't believe Michael has what it takes to actually act on them impulses. You know, he may think about it, but I don't believe he would ever act on it. Because if he ever actually did act on them impulses of wanting to rape or molest somebody, it would give him something else to do besides butchering women. You know, it would render him so human that he would finally find something else to do besides pick up a butcher knife. You know, and I don't believe that's the case here. So, but that's what they try to sell us on the producer's cut, which is one of the reasons why I don't care for that version of the movie. But if you ask me, Lee McCoy from Drum Dums has made a definitive version of Halloween 6. He took the best of both worlds from the producers and the theatrical and jived them together and made the Blue Myers cut, his own personal homemade version of Halloween 6. I've seen it. It's fucking awesome. It's great. It's badass. Look him up, send him a message, and show him some love. You know, maybe he'll send you a link for it. And also, he's been having some back problems lately. So, Lee, this review's for you, man. I hope you feel better. I hope your back pain goes away. Get well soon, bro. But anyway, show Drum Dump some love. He's fucking awesome. And, but yeah, Jamie's baby, Steven, has been chosen by the Cult of Thorn to either carry on the Thorn curse and butcher people when he grows up, or be Myers' final sacrifice. I don't really know which is which, because both movies are kind of fucking confusing. And the baby's ripped out of her fucking arms as soon as he's born. You know, Travis Tritt shows up in his fucking steel-toe boots and takes little baby Steven away, you know. And she ditches the baby at a bus station because he's on the run from Michael once again. She makes the last call for help to Dr. Loomis on this radio station, and hosted by Barry Sims, which is a knockoff on a homage to what's his name, Howard Stern, who was a famous radio DJ back in the 90s, and just a vulgar, nasty motherfucker. And Barry Sims is like a knockoff of that, you know. But Barry's pretty funny. He's got some funny one-liners in this, you know. Beth, I bet you get naked and bark like a dog, or some shit like that. I can't remember exactly, because like I said, I'm only on one cup of coffee this morning. I bet you wear crotchless panties and bark like a dog. That's what it was, yeah. I had to get that right. Mandy would have killed me. So let's see. Yeah, the baby, I don't know what the deal is with that, what they want to do with the little fucker exactly. All I know is it was a poor little defenseless baby that's sitting on a gothic fucking throne, and they're doing this weirdest incantation with a dagger and putting the blood symbol on his stomach, and so something about seeing a little naked baby on a table is creepy to me. It's just fucking weird. But moving on from that, you had the Strode family, relatives of the people who adopted Laurie Strode, have moved into the Myers house. And as we all know, anyone that lives in the Myers house is his family. No matter if they're not directly blood related to him at all, it's his family in his mind, as Dr. Loomis tells them later on in the movie. And got to give a shout out to the late great Donald Pleasance, who returned for his final performance as Dr. Loomis in this. And, you know, he gives us the best performance of Dr. Loomis we've had since Halloween 1. I will say that. I have enjoyed Dr. Loomis throughout every movie in this franchise, but Halloween 6 is probably the closest that we've ever gotten to his take on Dr. Loomis back in Halloween 1. He's no longer raving and going off and screaming crazy, batshit crazy Loomis like he was in 4 and 5. He's not knocking back whiskey bottles with a retired preacher going down the highway, singing about going to a river and getting drunk. I don't know, but we get a decent Loomis in this, you know. And it's sad that he was only on set for a few days, and he ended up dying before the movie was even released. He was physically sick, physically ill during the filming of this. So, rest in peace, Donald Pleasance. There's no one like you. There will never be another Dr. Loomis. But, yeah, he gave a damn good performance. And he tried to convince the Strode family that, you know, you're living in the Myers house and you need to get the hell out of here. This is not the safe place you thought it was, because John Strode, Deborah's husband, is a real estate agent, and he bought the house from his brother, and he didn't let him know that this is the Myers house y'all were living in. You know, he didn't say shit, so no wonder he got so fucking cheap. I mean, who the fuck would want to live in a house where a bunch of mass murders happen, you know, and just, no, fuck that. Hell no. Ain't no damn way. Nobody want to live in that fucking house. It's not exactly a house you put on the market, if you know what I mean. But, yeah, John Strode ended up dying savagely. I loved his death in this. When Michael kills him in the laundry room, he stabs him in the stomach. Well, he dies in two different ways. In the theatrical cut, Myers explodes his fucking head from the inside out. You know, he grabs something and electrocutes the motherfucker, and his head explodes in gory fashion. In the producer's cut, he just stabs him in the stomach, and it's kind of watered down. So everything in the producer's cut, all the deaths in that kind of suck, and I'll get into that in a minute. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So in the producer's cut, the way Jamie dies, it sucks. All right? Jamie Lloyd's character dies off in a shitty way because Myers tracks her down into a barn that looks like it's the Tower Farm from Halloween 5. I don't know if it is or not. I'm guessing the name, but it'd be cool if it was. And he's stalking her inside the barn. He's chased her from Smith's Grove, where she gave birth to Stephen. And she's sitting on a bale of hay, and he walks up with a knife and just stabs her, and she falls over. And she's like, "You can't have the baby, Michael." You know, and they follow her to the hospital. She's in ICU right now, probably on life support. And Myers, or somebody, no, not Myers, but someone within the cult of Thorn walks up with a silencer gun and just shoots her in the head. And just like, pew! You know, it's like they got a fucking Bond villain to walk up and shoot Jamie in the head. So it was a shitty ass way to kill a character off. So can you see why Daniel Harris didn't want to come back for this piece of shit? As far as her take on her, the last bit of her role with Jamie Lloyd, it was shitty. Now in the theatrical cut, Myers chases her into the barn, and he walks up, grabs her by the throat, and hurls her onto this farm equipment. And it pierces through her stomach, and some kind of contraption that cuts up meat and stuff. And Myers walks up, and she's like giving this last blood-curdling line, and she's like, "You can't have the baby, Michael. You can't have the baby." And grabs it and pulls the lever back, and all the shit starts grinding up her fucking intestines. And it's just like, ugh. She gives out this last blood-curdling, gory scream, and it's just horrible, man. He kills the shit out of her in the theatrical cut. But the death is so much better. It's so much gorier and way better way to send her off into the sunset. I really wish they would have just stuck with that death and said, fuck the producer's cut, you know. Let's see. Barry Sims' death. In the theatrical cut, Myers grabs him. Well, actually, he dies the same way, I think, in both cuts, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know in the comments below, because like I said, I've only had one cup of coffee, and I only did this on the whim so I can get the shit out of the way. So people stop asking when I'm not going to do my Halloween 6 review. So, I know Myers grabs the knife and cuts him up through the sternum, from groin to sternum in the van, after he calls Myers a pussy. He does a pretty good death. I liked it. It was pretty decent. You know, and then Myers props him up in a tree with Halloween lights around him, and he got that little girl dancing around saying, "Mommy, it's raining. It's raining red. Mommy, it's raining red. It's warm." Well, no shit, dumbass. Blood is warm. But whoever the fuck let their little girl dance around in blood should be slapped, because I don't know what the fuck the mom was doing, but the little girl's standing around dancing in blood, and it's Barry's blood, and he falls out of the tree, and that's when Tommy and Dr. Loomis is like, "Oh shit, it's happening again." They go back to the Blankenship house where Danny is there, Kara's son. And Danny has been being stalked by the Man in Black throughout this whole movie. He's been trying to groom him to be the next Michael Myers. If not Stephen, then definitely Danny, because he's had his eye on him the whole time, you know, wanting him to kill for him. And constantly in his room at night saying, "Danny, kill for him. Kill for him, Danny." You know, and he's called the Nightmare Man. So, I don't know what the deal was. If they wanted Stephen to be the next Myers, or they wanted Danny to do it. But one was going to be sacrificed, and one was going to carry on the curse of Thorn. I'm not really sure. It's kind of fucking confusing if you ask me. But in the third act, we find out that Dr. Wynn is, in fact, the Man in Black. Dr. Wynn was just a little shoe-in character from Halloween 1 back in 78, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense that they would choose someone who didn't even matter to the franchise up until that point. Just somebody you see for like 5 fucking seconds, 10 seconds, arguing with Dr. Loomis about Myers driving a car. For God's sake, Sam, he can't drive a car. We're doing very well last night. Have you someone around here give him lessons? You know, that guy. I don't know what the hell the deal was with making Wynn the Man in Black. They should have just chose somebody that nobody fucking had a clue who it was, and that would have been fine with me. I didn't really care. Um, but anyway, so yeah, sorry, that was a business call. Dr. Wynn is the Man in Black, and he's the one that has been controlling Michael throughout the entire Thorn trilogy. So I don't know what's up with that shit, but he wants to take Danny and turn him into the next Michael Myers, and that leads into the third act, where Paul Rudd's character Tommy Doyle, who this is Paul Rudd's first movie, but he gives an alright decent performance for what it's called for. He's kind of suffering from PTSD and I don't know what the fuck else, but this dude was fucking tripping. So every scene you see him in, he's got his eyes wide open like that, giving his weird ass fucking looks throughout the. Cody Lee's does a way better impression of Paul Rudd in this than I do. So if you haven't seen Cody Lee's review of Halloween 6, go over to his channel and check it out. It's fucking awesome. But Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle with Dr. Loomis, they follow and track him down to the Smith Grove Sanitarium where they took Kara and Danny and Steven because Blankenship was in on it all along. From what I've heard, Mrs. Blankenship was Myers' grandmother. She was, in fact, the grandmother of Michael Myers, who was babysitting him that night when he decided to go on a bloody rampage and kill Judith. But anyways, they show up at Smith's Grove, and they got the baby Steven in the operating room where they're about to do surgery on him or some shit. I don't know what the fuck was up with that. Myers shows up, grabs a machete off the operating table where all the fucking weapons are and shit, and goes in there and just slaughters the fuck out of every doctor in this operating room. And that scene right there is probably my favorite scene out of this entire movie, when Myers just massacres everybody in the operating room. And the only negative I can give for that is the fact they used that strobe light effect during this. I hate that shit. Because I have epilepsy. I'm 100% epileptic, and that shit fucking annoys the fuck out of me. Because I have to cover my eyes every time the scene comes up. I can't even watch it, because it would give me a seizure. That would suck. Very bad. But, yeah, I can't watch that scene. I see it through the cracks of my fingers, but that's about it. It just irritates the shit out of me, if I try to watch it otherwise. And, but anyways, Myers does. He slaughters the fuck out of them. You just love how he horrifically kills them, Then Tommy and Kara take Danny and Steven, and they go and take shelter in this room. They lock the door and try to get the hell out of there. And, Myers tracks them down into the room where they're hiding, busts through the door with his hand, rips the door off the fucking hinges, and walks in there trying to find the baby. And that's when Tommy Doyle tries to fuck with Myers and prank him into thinking that he's got the baby in his arms, but the whole time it's not. The baby's actually hiding with Kara and Danny behind some drums, like oil drums or some shit. And Myers is like, oh, fuck no, motherfucker, I'm not stupid. And he grabs Tommy by the throat. Tommy shoots him in the fucking chest with these needles and injects him with some kind of shit, some kind of toxin. And Myers is like drunk at this point. He's like, he can't see shit. He don't know where the fuck's going on, where he's going. And he walks past Tommy after he's thrown him like 2 fucking miles away. And he just hurls his ass into a corner, and Kara shows up, starts beating the hell out of Michael with a fucking lead pipe. That was cool as fuck. I really liked that. I really liked how she beat his ass for a few minutes until he grabs her and throws her on this fucking table, starts choking the fucking life out of her. And Danny's dumb ass is like, stop, Mom! I'm like, you little fucktard, what were you going to do? You were just screaming like hell 5 minutes ago, and now you're trying to speak up for your mom. I mean, I can understand that. I probably would have did the same shit, but he didn't really have a chance in hell of defending his mama. And Myers drops her down on the ground after he almost choked her to death. And he's going for the baby. He's finally about to close in and kill Danny and grab the baby and finally kill it, little fucker. And Tommy shows up, stabs him in the back with another needle, and starts whooping his ass with that lead pipe. And it's fucking awesome because he beats the living shit out of him. He just wails on my head with his damn pipe every way you can think of. And it's another thing about Tommy in this is that I love his psychotic mental break that he has. At one point before this, he's in the hallway trying to kick down the door to get Kara out of her room, and Myers shows up and looks at him like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Making all this damn noise in my fucking mental asylum, what the fuck? And Tommy just looks at him, he's like, he has this weird psychotic break and shit, and He just like he can't believe that Myers is actually standing in front of him. You know, that was one of my favorite moments out of this. Some of the deaths, like I said, were pretty cool. Tim and Beth's death in the Myers house was actually pretty decent. Myers kills Tim after he gets out of the shower and slices his throat and stabs Beth in the back with a knife and shit. And they do it in like slow mo fashion while Kara's watching through the telescope across the street from the door of the house. So yeah, there were some pretty decent deaths in this, but the story and the fact that they made two different cuts of this because they couldn't make sense of the shit themselves, it ultimately leaves me to like, what the fuck? I don't know. So I don't really know what to make of it, but it was one of my favorites to rent back in the day in the video store. I would frequently rent 3 different horror movies every week, and one would be Halloween 6, Friday the 13th Part 7, New Blood, and Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, were my 3 most frequent movies I rented in a video store at the age of 12. But it's by far my favorite Michael out of the original franchise. I do love it. Gotta love Nick Castle, but for me, the Halloween 6 Michael was better. But maybe one day I'll rank the Myers and shit. Let me know in the comments below if y'all want me to do a ranking of the performances of Michael Myers throughout the Halloween franchise. Everybody else has done the shit, why not me? But I can't tell y'all when I'm going to get to my review of Halloween H2O because it's took me forever to get to this fucking shit. So God knows when I'll be able to get to Halloween H2O, but I will get there eventually. But this has been my review of Halloween 6, and yeah, it took a while, but I finally got to it. But my apologies if I screwed up at anything during this. But like I said, I only have 1 cup of coffee and I had to wake up, hurry up, and get this shit out. But anyways, yeah. Let me know y'all's thoughts below, what you thought about Halloween 6, and what do you rate it in your rankings of the franchise, and let me know what y'all thought below, and I will get to you and we'll talk about it. So like, share, subscribe, all that good shit, and I will see y'all later.